time.
A long time, right? I mean, almost a year and a half at this point. So, I mean, what's been going on that's kept you out for this long?
A couple things. Like one big one was I had an injury, a spinal injury that I got from actually trying to get ready for the boys that had the big 57,000 seat arena show. So I was scheduled for that. Oh, I didn't have an opponent, but I was scheduled for it. And then in that camp or in the build up to it, I hurt my spine. And I was, it actually took me to the brink. The surgeon that I had was one of the surgeons that works on a lot of the All Blacks, the rugby players. And he's the highest, he's one of the best apparently in the world at this type of surgery that they do. And it was going to be either I get the surgery or I might never be able to fight again. I kept it real under wraps at the time because I was freaking out, but I just did a lot of rehab over this 21-day period, because when it happened, like, I lost all sensation down like all my arms and legs and shit, and it was pretty scary, but like I just persevered through it. And then the doctor said he was amazed at like almost like a miracle recovery. And from then also ran into a few things with life. I've had a son. He's 16 weeks old now. We actually found out at that fight night when all the boys were competing. The night before, my partner was like, "Oh, I feel thing," and I was like, "You're pregnant." I just knew it because we'd been kind of not trying, but we agreed that I want to start a family at some point in the future. And probably my super sperm was like, "Ooh," that night or something. But it's been it was rocky for a little bit, but I'm glad that I got to ask myself those questions of really, what do I want to do with this sport? What are my motivations and stuff? And a lot of fighters, especially at my age, 27, I'm like not even in my prime or peak. You don't ask yourself that. You just go with the motions, and you just, especially with my team, you just flow with it. Like, man, you're in the best place. Why would you waste these opportunities and not take it? So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just doing it for everyone else, because looking at it, they'd be like, man, you're an egg to turn these things down. But I turned down a couple fights, and I really asked myself, I really wanted to do this. And I said yes to all of those things. So reinvigorated, remotivated, and inspired to just keep smashing for the next 10 years, let's say.
That's awesome. So, I mean, the motivation, the mentality, that seems, I can definitely see how that would have you dialed in. The physical side of it, though, has it been difficult at all? I mean, I guess trust the health of your spine again, or not worry that something's going to happen?
Yeah, at first it was, and because in New Zealand we're a bunch of hard men, and we're real quiet hard men about it. So if they go, "Oh, you saw?" Nah. I always say pain's just a sensation, but it got to the point where I had to be more honest in regards to that stuff, and it actually, I think, helped our gym realize that aspects of what we do could be altered, not like change forever. That we got some good, it's good to be tough and hard in the sport, but can also supplement that with bit more recovery and stuff. So at first it was hard, but it wasn't as hard as sitting on the sidelines. Man, that sucked. And not being able to train, because that's like my counseling. That was like part of the rockiness. If you're going to go through physical ups and downs, you're going to go through mental ups and downs. And my coach Doug Viney said, "Bro, you don't need to go to counseling, come hit the bag, that's your counseling." And I was like, no, it's not. And then as soon as I came and started hitting, I was like, "You're right, coach, this is all you need." And it's been when I really got back into hard out training was before this COVID stuff, not long before, and it was a perfect timing because I was, kind of not half in, half out the gym because I didn't want to push too much. But when it was just us at home for 8 weeks, my partner and I gave us a lot of time to get ready for our son to come, just doing a lot of home workout stuff, stuff that I wouldn't have the time to do if the gym was open, because I just go to the gym. But instead I was training twice a day by myself, hitting the bag and stuff, and doing a lot of weirdo sort of workouts that I haven't really done before in my career. But it was a massive blessing, this lockdown, but sad for the rest of the world. But in New Zealand, we got it pretty good.
Yeah, you guys did very well with it, that's for sure. Let me ask you this. So knowing that all you've had to battle through and all you've been getting to get here, then you get, last minute opponent change. Is that like, what the hell? Or is it like, I don't care, man? Yeah. Like, I'm getting in there.
It's the opposite of what the hell. Is like, yeah, cool, because more challenges, I'm like ready for... There's a point where you're in your career and some people are happy to see things just roll on, get their ducks in a row and be happy with that. But I'm happy I want to be comfortable in the chaos. And there's not many more chaotic things than coming to a fight island. Then on the way there, the dude Nate messaged me being like, "Bro, I got COVID. Hopefully they can push it back a week." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to have a fight." But then Israel said, he's like, "Bro, they'll find you a fight." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right. We're in unprecedented times. They will find me a fight." So just the switch happened. And I look forward to the challenge of having a a quick opponent change, and our team, a good test for our team too, and they took it on such a note. I got my coach here, Lightning Mike Angove, who's a former Southpaw world champion, and he's my roommate. So it's like all the stars aligned anyway, it's beautiful.
That's awesome, man. So give me the goal here. Last thing for me, give me the goal here. I mean, like I said, you've been out for a long time. You've already overcome a lot. Getting in there, are you like trying to remind the world who you are? Are you trying to prove something to yourself? What's the goal? I mean, obviously you want to win the fight, but what more does it mean?
The goal hasn't changed, because my goals, when I first came into the UFC against Volko, that baptism by fire against the champ, it realigned stuff, because you hope that you're going to get there, or you believe that you're going to get there, but when you get there, you're like, oh wow, I'm here. And I realized I want to use this platform to help spread my Maori culture, Polynesian and indigenous cultures, and also spread more awareness around mental health in men, because in New Zealand it's really bad. As I said in my last fight, that we got the highest youth suicide rates and highest suicide rates in males. But those are still the goals. But in terms of having to prove myself or anything like that, no, I don't feel like that, because I'll represent myself. I feel like just by being myself, I represent my culture and my gym well. But with the actual fighting part of it, I want to get in there and like test my skills, because I've been seeing all my team's been seeing amazing things from myself at the gym, as well as obviously rising tides make all ships rise, or whatever it is. So I want to show some more diversity that I've built up, all these new techniques and stuff. So it's going to be fun. Mortal Kombat on.
Who did you say had the highest suicide mortality rate?
New Zealand. New Zealand has per capita. So we've got 4 million people, and then based on that number and kids under 18, we have the highest rates. And before my last fight, what really pushed me to want to speak on it was that a few people close to me took their own lives, and then I found out from a place, one of the most beautiful places you'll ever see as well, like beautiful beaches, all these amazing people, but kids 11 took his own life, and then a 9-year-old girl took her own life at like friends of friends. And I was like, bro, someone needs to say something, so it was scary when I did talk about it. Like, I've watched it back a few times, and I'm like going like this, but it was the reason I was going like that, because I was like, man, I don't want to cry about it, because it's quite a intense thing. But I've reframed it in my mind in like a positive way, because I want to take those I think of them as sacrifices now that these kids have made, not wasting their lives, but like sacrifices to motivate us as men and future generations to be like, bro, we got to sort this world out. Not just in talking about mental health, but in other things, like how we think of the world and we're like, oh, climate change is going to die, all the billionaires are rich and they just take all the money. Like, I feel if we keep pushing in the right positive way, in 50 years it won't be like that. We'll look at our billionaires like they're chiefs in our village, and they're taking care of us, and we're all rolling through and keep things simple and wholesome and community based. And I think it was buzzy how COVID happened, because the whole world slowed right down, and it was like stars aligning again. I was like, man, this is like a good place to start now. The planes have all shut down, and we can start rebuilding a bit with a bit more foresight. And I believe that with Maori culture, or indigenous traditional cultures, are the way we just take the morals and mental how we think about our place in the world, and just apply it to the new age technology and the way it's so connected, make it more connected.
Do you think moving forward, being more open with mental health, especially with male athletes, would be more prevalent?
Yeah, I think even from when I did speak about it, that because I did criticize some people. Looking back on it, I should have humbled myself a little bit, because I'm not in their shoes. But I talked about like our NRL and rugby players. They're like our superstars. So I wanted to be all black when I was a kid, so I'm wearing all black. But I kind of criticized them, saying that they don't speak up about this enough and stuff. And maybe they heard, because from then onwards, it's felt like everyone's talking about mental health and opening up about this, or just saying like, there's heaps of men out there that are like I feel like my coaches are some that are like, they're like, nah man, I'm sweet, they're simple, they're smart, they only want the simple things. So when they got all their stuff, they don't want for other things. And even those people that are like never had bad mental health, they're speaking on it to make it okay for their people around them, so they can be like pillars in that sort of community to talk to and stuff. So yeah, I think and it's only going to get more intense, especially with some of the things that are happening across the world with like racism and stuff like that. It's making it more, it's being brought to the forefront hard out.
And one final one. What's around your neck? Those crystals?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So normally in my culture, we pounamu is like greenstone that we have, but I'm not really a big necklace guy, and I think looking back on it's because have a stigma in New Zealand. Like we use this word gay, like as if being like uncool. That's all it means. But when you say it day in day out, like I was like, it's in everyone's head. You're like, I don't want to be that, you know. And I was like, I wouldn't even wear necklaces because of. Like, I just realized I had something in my head where I was like, oh, that's for girls. And so, yeah, I'm just, my partner gave me this one. She gave me this one, so I'm just repping it because I need to blast through my own stigmas, Got to lead the charge.
What do those crystals, like, what do you do? Do they have a specific thing? I know.
Yeah, this is an amethyst, and this is dragon's eye, I believe.
Okay.
They're just protective type
I know
ones.
Jared Cannonier's big into like pyrites as it wards off like negative energy and stuff.
Oh
like that.
yeah. I think because in my culture, pounamu is such a precious stone. Anyway, we use them for like adzes and like and also weapons. We had these things called patu, which it could crack your skull open with like one flick. I don't know if you've seen women do poi. You know that poi, yeah. That the men used to do that because it makes your wrists, whack, and you just whack them with this thing. So I'm slowly transitioning back to one day I'll get a pounamu gifted to me and I'll make sure I wear it. So I'm just getting used to wearing necklaces out here in front of the world. Like, look, mom, I'm not a girl.
Cool.
Sweet.
Awesome
Mean.
stuff.
Thank you, brothers.
Shaya.